Wow. I can't believe you're getting married just like that. I don't understand how there was someone willing to make such a basic girl like you their wife.
Hold on, Millie. Whatever happened to congratulating someone for getting married?
I'm sorry. I just heard about this from Mom and was in complete shock. Congratulations on getting married, Maggie. Great thing you did that just before you became too old for most men.
I don't think I'm going to say thank you to something as ridiculous as that now.
But you know who I want to talk about right now besides you, Maggie? I want to talk about your husband and the fact that he must be some unmarriable slob just like you. Way to go picking up the scraps like that, big sis. Would have been a lot nicer had you ended up like me, though. Cute and actually interesting to talk to.
Don't call my husband a slob and someone unmarriable, please. He's a very nice man. And starting now, I'll be joining him and making sure his company grows and makes him more money.
What? What do you mean, his company? Is your husband the owner of some company?
Yes, he is. That's why I just quit my job, as we're getting married. From now on, I'll be working for him inside his company. At least, that's the plan.
What? A boring and basic woman like you got married to a CEO? In other words, that makes you the wife of a CEO now.
Well, I wouldn't say that yet, just considering his company is still small. But as time goes on, I hope to help him build it. And then you can start calling me something so honorable. He's going to be running the company though, and I'll just continue working for him.
Who cares about all of that? I'm just in shock over the fact that you're the wife of a CEO now. How dare you marry a company-owning man like him?
I wasn't trying to be mean or anything. And it's not like this is a big deal. He owns a little company that I'll be joining to help build with him. That's all.
But Maggie, you left your job to go and help him, right? That job you had before was really good, with a good salary and great benefits, right? You went and quit your job there to go and work with your husband now? That means you have to be making way more money with your husband. Tell me right now, how much is he making every year there? Hundreds of thousands? Millions even?
Hey, stop asking about how much money my husband brings in, please. I'm not gonna tell you anything about that right now.
I see. In other words, he's making so much that you don't want to share.
What? I never said that.
I am so shocked by how all of this unfolded. I was totally thinking that someone as basic and gloomy as you would never find yourself a man to marry. Yet now, you're married to a very successful company-owning man. Is your husband one of those men that's attracted to ugly people?
Excuse me?
Well, I'll be able to learn about all of those details in person later on, right? Hey Maggie, do you mind lending me some money right now? It would really help me a lot if you were to lend me 5,000 right now.
So you start things off by making fun of my husband and yet now you expect for me to lend you money? And 5,000? I'll give you 5 if that's how serious of a situation you're in.
Well, I've started to want to get married myself now. I'd like to be like you, finding myself an amazing husband with loads of money that I can have. That's why I was thinking of going to a speed dating party, or perhaps creating my own account online to start finding myself some decent men. But, of course, all of those things cost money, right?
I suppose you would have to pay to attend those events, as well as a monthly fee for any dating and marriage apps.
Unfortunately, I'm no full-time employee, but just a simple part-timer. Which means I don't have any money in my savings, but would really like help finding a man. If you've been able to get yourself a rich husband, then you should be able to lend me a couple grand at the very least, right?
I told you, things aren't like that with him. But if you really want me to lend you some money, you'll have to sign an IOU first. I know that both Mom and Dad have been wanting the same thing for you, finding a man that can get you out of the house and into a life of your own.
I'll sign! Then let's get to it and get that money into my bank account. If we don't get to work here right now, any future would-be husbands might get away from me.
Maggie, I'm sorry for bringing this up right before our wedding. I'm sorry to also have to ask this, but please leave me.
What?
I know it's only been just 3 months since we got married, so I'm really sorry. And our wedding is this weekend, but I can't keep hiding my true feelings anymore. I want to break things off with you and marry Millie now.
Excuse me? Wait a second, Lloyd. What the hell did you just say to me? You want to divorce me now? So that you can get married to my little sister? What the hell are you going on about right now?
I knew that you'd get upset with me for saying this, but just listen to me. Actually, I've been dating with Millie for a little while now.
Huh? So, in other words, you mean that you've been cheating on me with her? You and we've only been married for 3 months now, and you did that? You went and started cheating on your new wife with her little sister?
I'm really, really sorry. But at this point, the only person I'm attracted to is Millie, and I can't get her out of my head. She is literally the only thing I can think about anymore.
How can you say something like that to me? I married you because I thought we were both on the same page when we said we wanted to grow happy and old together. I quit my job in order to be able to support you and your company. We were supposed to both be in this together, Lloyd.
And I'm very thankful that you did something as selfless as that. I really suck at things like paperwork and advertising things. Because of you, things became a whole lot more easier for me, and I've really appreciated all of that. But compared to you, Millie is far more my type, and I just know that her and I will be happy together.
Huh? You think you'll be happier with her then?
There is nobody else more cute than she is, and who is willing to do anything and everything for me. No matter when or where we are, she is always worried about me and so kind. This is the first time in my life where I've been so close and connected to someone.
What the hell are you saying, Lloyd? I have done so much more for you that most other women would never think of doing. And that's because I love you. I've already sacrificed my job for your company, and I've even been doing all of the chores at home so that you can focus on your goals.
But Millie gave me a very high-end and fashionable necktie.
She bought you a high-end brand necktie?
At first, when Millie came to me confessing the feelings she had for me, I just assumed she was joking around and said no to her. But after that, she continued to send me text after text telling me how much she was in love with me. Then, last month on my birthday, she told me she at least wanted me to take the present she had gotten for her. And that was when she came to me and gave me this insanely expensive high-brand necktie. This is the first time in my life where I've ever gotten a present worth more than $1,000.
You're kidding me. So that's all it took for you to jump from me to my little sister, even though we're married? All you ever wanted from someone was a simple present that costs more than $1,000? I thought the gift of being married was something you would never be willing to throw away.
And I really did enjoy the fact that you married me. But I've never experienced love like the kind that Millie has for me. I've been so emotionally moved by the way she's shown her love to me that I can't get her out of my head. The girl is destined for me, I just know it.
No way.
That's why I'm asking you to please divorce me. I'll get the papers tonight, so please make sure to sign them all for me.
Excuse me, Millie? What the hell is going on here? Explain yourself right now. How the hell could you take your sister's husband from her like that?
I stole your husband, didn't I? Sorry, but I'm going to be getting married to Lloyd now.
I'm not playing games right now, you bitch. I thought you went out looking for your own man already. Why the actual hell did you end up dating my husband, of all people?
What? I went out looking. And that's when I found your husband and decided he'd be the man I marry.
Huh?
He was just the man I was looking for, Maggie. One that has lots of money and decent looks. Who would easily succumb to the cuteness and love of a girl like me. All I had to do was buy him an expensive present, and he started going on about how it was the first time he'd ever received a present like that, like some idiot. Seriously, it is way too easy to get men to want us, right?
What?
Thank you so much, Maggie. You were willing to lend me that $5,000 I asked for. And with that money, I was able to get the necktie that was key to getting Lloyd to fall for me.
Come on now. You actually used the $5,000 I gave you on that necktie? You used my money that I lended to you on a high-end necktie that you used to steal my husband?
You really thought that I'd be going to some stupid events and going onto apps to try and find myself a man? Those are just wastes of money for women and men to hook up and have some easy sex, right? I would have never found myself a man that I wanted to marry at one of those events.
So you borrowed my money with a plan in mind from the start? In order to steal my husband from me, you asked me to lend you some money because you didn't have any. How much more of a bitch can you be, Millie?
You are so miserable right now that it's insane, Maggie. And you just handed me that money without a thought behind your eyes, all so that I could steal your husband from you. I feel so bad for you right now that I'd be willing to use some of Lloyd's money later to get you a funeral.
And you're not even going to bother apologizing to me? Instead, just laughing at the hell you've created. Well, I'm going to warn you. There's not a bone in my body that wants to forgive you.
I'm not asking for you to forgive me, Maggie. As long as I can become the wife of a CEO, that's all I need. And now that I have one in my grasp, I'm on track to winning at this game called life.
Huh?
Lloyd is really such a wonderful person, isn't he? He is so madly in love with me right now that he'll listen to anything I say.
And for our wedding, we'll be having a gorgeous wedding that's going to cost over $50,000. You guys are still planning to throw a wedding, even though everyone is going to know that you stole my husband from me? What's wrong with having a wedding after stealing your husband? I told Lloyd that I want to have a wedding no matter what. And he replied by saying he'd give me whatever kind of wedding I asked for. That's why I already called around and have set up plans to have a $50,000 wedding. I just knew that having a CEO husband meant that I could have anything. A CEO husband, huh? Now that you're aware of everything, hurry up and leave that man. Your CEO husband is no longer yours to have anymore. He's head over heels for me right now and wants to give me that $50,000 wedding. Even though he's only bringing in around $25,000 a year. What? So it'll take him 2 years to pay that wedding off, as long as he doesn't spend a penny on anything else. I guess if you don't mind eating dirt and living under a bridge after your wedding, go right ahead. He'll be throwing all the money he earns those next 2 years, just so that you guys can have one special day together. Hold it right there, Maggie. Lloyd is not that uncool, okay? He'd never be making such chump change as that. He's the owner and operator of a company, right? He shouldn't be making so little money as that. Instead, close to $500,000 a year, right? You never understood what I was saying before then. Just because he has a company that he runs doesn't mean he's living large. His company is so small that it's literally just him working there and nobody else. There are plenty of people like him too, with their own company, and all only making close to $30,000 a year. Yet they can still be called a CEO technically, since they operate their own company. What? I mean, Lloyd is a CEO, legally anyways. But in reality, all he's doing is a little bit of work every day just to keep some money flowing. And if he were to try really, really hard one year, at most he'd get to $32,000 a year. What? Are you sure? So, if you'd like me to take a word out of your book, he's making chump change. And my goodness, is it wild that you'll be having a $50,000 wedding with a man like that? You have to be lying right now. You're just trying to bully me now by making up that lie. I mean, you literally quit your good job to be with and support him, right? If his company was worth you leaving such a good job behind, that means you both have been very busy making a lot of money at his company, right? Which means these past 3 months, you guys have been making bank, right? The only reason I quit my job was because of the timing. I've always wanted to start working on my own time. And since I was getting married, I thought, what better time but now to do so? And because of the time on my hands, I thought that I'd spend more time helping out with his company. What? When you said you wanted to start working on your own time, does that mean you've started to freelance as well or something? Not just freelance, but working on making a company of my own, where I could improve and use my skills. So I started a company that does the same thing as Lloyd's, a design company. And as a way of helping the both of us, I started having my company work together with his. And then, with some willpower and a bit of luck, I landed my first customer. You're telling me that you have a customer now? And I'm very thankful for it. They told me they noticed all of the effort I was putting in and wanted to start supporting my goals. But, of course, due to that, a lot of income that Lloyd had been making went to me, as the customer wanted to only work with me. So even though we're both running companies within the same field, I'm making more than he is. But that is because of the work I've been putting in, and nothing else.
What?
As I told you, right now, Lloyd is making around $25,000 to $30,000 a year, right? Well, I'm making close to 5 times that much with the help of such a loyal customer. And there's more to come once I get things more commercialized.
In other words, you're making over 100,000 now?
Sure, I might be some basic girl to you, but at least I have a company now where I started to feel like I'm really successful. Now, I'm going to get that divorce you both have been wanting so badly. And of course, once he and I are exes, I'll no longer be helping him with his company at all. And I'll be taking all of my support with me.
No way! That would mean he'd be running his company on his own, right?
I'm sure that if he were to step up his game just a little, he'd be able to design some products that people would really like. And let's hope there are people out there willing to work with a man who is so crazy he'd cheat on his own wife with her younger sister. Now, I have my bags to start packing so that I can get out of here. And I'll make sure by the end of today, he and I are divorced.
I'm not screwing around, Maggie. Why would you take all of those customers I had with you? I get that I didn't have many, but now I literally have nobody. Tell them to come back and buy from me right now.
Don't complain to me about all of that. They've all told me that they'd rather be purchasing and working with me than you. If you have a problem with that, then you voice your problems to them.
What was that?
But I don't think you have any time to be doing all of that anymore, do you? You have to start worrying about that $50,000 wedding you have to give Millie, now, since you promised her that. If you had the time to start complaining to all of your customers, then you shouldn't even be worried about losing them in the first place.
Yo, screw you. Do you have any idea how difficult it is for me to find new customers right now? All the ones you stole from me, I worked for months on end finding. They should be staying with me instead of going to you and your business.
I have been putting in just as much work as you have, Lloyd. But the difference is, my work actually has some merit to it, because I'm working on the right things, and making sure all of my designs are perfect. In your case, all the work is you just sitting around playing on your phone, only ever putting in effort when people come to you for it, and producing half-assed designs.
What?
You're going to have to work even harder now, Lloyd. Because if you don't, you're going to lose that company of yours to bankruptcy. From what Millie has told me, she's so happy to have herself a CEO now that she can marry. Which means if you let your company go, she's going to be very, very sad.
And who do you think's fault it is my company will go bankrupt for making no money? I will not take that stranger-like attitude from you now.
But I am a stranger now, am I not? And I say that because you and I are no longer married. What happens to your company from now on has nothing to do with me and my life anymore. Now, what you really should be worried about is the fact that you're going to need to start paying off that settlement to me.
What? You're going to try getting a settlement from me now?
Not try. I will be getting one from you. You were my husband at the time, yet told me about how you've been cheating on me with my sister. I'll make sure you take responsibility for my broken heart by paying up.
But it's because of you that I'm not going to be making any more money for my company. You can ask me for a settlement, but I won't have a way to pay you anything.
It's not about you having the money to pay me or not. It's about you finding someone to lend you the money now to pay me, and paying that debt off later. If you're that worried about money right now, close your business and go find yourself a job working for someone else. Then you'll be making some income again, right?
What?
Your company's problem and the settlement I'm asking for are two separate things. Now, please get that money to me when I ask you.
Maggie! You know what? You can have Lloyd back now if you want. I don't need someone like him anymore. I have no use for a man that's not going to be making any money.
Don't be so cold about your man like that. Isn't he madly in love with you right now? I was told that you were destined for one another, so you can't be mean to the one you've destined for, right?
That destiny that you and him have talked about has nothing to do with me. My future husband is not going to be some lost cause of a bankrupt man. I don't love him anymore, and I want nothing to do with him. I'll give him right back to you now. Therefore, can you please stop asking me for that stupid settlement?
Wait, so you already received the letter in the mail from my lawyer? He really is a fast-working and precise lawyer.
I can't pay this kind of money to you, Maggie. All I did was steal your husband from you for a bit, and you're asking for $30,000 now because of that?
Oh? Did you make sure to read everything that was written down on the letter from my lawyer? That's not just the settlement I've asked for, because you took my husband, but also some other money that you owe me as well.
What? Other money that I owe you?
You're indebted to me, right? Remember how you borrowed $5,000 from me so that you could pay to find yourself a husband? So, a part of that money you owe me is that, which you have to pay me back. Of course, there was interest on that, right?
Interest? You're going to try and get that much money out of your own little sister now?
Hold on a second. What kind of comment was that there? You were the one that read through and signed the contract we made, the IOU, yet you're complaining now?
What? What exactly was written on the IOU again?
So you didn't read that after all then? I wrote on that IOU that for every month you didn't pay me anything back, you'd be charged interest. I also made sure to write on there that if you used the money I loaned you on anything other than its intended purpose, you'd be penalized.
Penalized? What? Hold up. That was even written on there?
I told you I didn't want to lend you $5,000. But if you were willing to sign an IOU, I wanted to make sure I wouldn't be getting screwed over in any way. So I made sure to write that you would be penalized for not spending the money on the intended things.
No way, Maggie!
Yet, you went ahead and spent the money on something completely different from what you specified before. That's why, with the penalty and interest included, you owe me $30,000 now. Please don't take it personally, because it isn't.
No way! No way!
I get that your man doesn't really have any customers anymore, but he's still a business owner, right? A CEO. If you go ahead and help him out in the most darkest of times with the company, I'm sure you can turn things around for yourselves. So don't go throwing him away, and give him the help he deserves. Now, when you guys get around to having that super gorgeous wedding of yours, send me an invite. I would love to see what the wedding of two cheating assholes looks like. In order to pay the settlement off, Lloyd had to burn all his savings and take out a loan. And in Millie's case, she had no money to begin with, so the loan was even larger. Soon after that, they both started to hear from their parents that they'd be getting disowned for what they've done. Which then led to Millie telling Lloyd that if this was the way things were going to go, she'd at least rather be with Lloyd than leave him and be on her own. So, for the time being, it seems those two won't be breaking up. However, when it came to Lloyd's company, things only grew worse and like he'd have no chance at getting back on his feet. So, once he let the company close down, he went and found himself a job, although said job was not paying much better than the company he had. Therefore, at this point in time, he's working said job alongside Millie, who's working 3 part-time jobs trying to pay off her loans as quick as possible. When it comes to myself, I've thankfully been doing very well with my company and getting a lot of business at this point. I'm busy almost every day. I also received a lot of money from both of the settlements, which I'll be using to expand my company even further